Yes or no? If you marry your brother and you commit immigration fraud, should you be denaturalized and deported?
Before we get started, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss real accountability coverage like this. Now, let me ask you something the political class clearly doesn't want answered. Should American citizens be expected to speak English? That single question set off a firestorm in Congress, and what happened next tells you everything you need to know about where this country is headed.
Thank you. As I listen to the witnesses answer questions today, I'm struck by the truly breathtaking amount of fraud, the scope and scale perpetrated against the American people by Somalians in Minnesota, screeching Democrats, like you just heard, at our witnesses. Democrats on this committee don't want to talk about Minnesota fraud because Minnesota fraud is Democrat fraud. You're going to make a great host on MSNBC. You're going to be great. And this is a cover-up. I mean, the very definition of cover-up. And so while we're still trying to understand the scale of the fraud, it appears that the amount of fraud we are talking about could exceed the size of GDP in Somalia. The size of its economy is what we're talking about. So let that sink in, the amount of fraud we're talking about. My first question is this, Mr. Balyu, this afternoon. Should Somalians in Minnesota be required to speak English, their citizens? Yes or no? Should they be required to speak English if they're American citizens?
I think that question is really inappropriate.
Should they? It's not inappropriate. This is the United States of America. Do you speak English? Should Americans speak English? Citizens speak English? Yes or no?
Point of inquiry, is English the official language of the United States? It's a question I
Mr. Chairman, I'm being interrupted again by another.
That's not a valid parliamentary inquiry.
I would like to reclaim my time, Mr.
requirement?
Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to reclaim my time.
She's
That
asking
seems
the
to be a
witness.
popular
She's asking
theme
the
today.
That's not a valid inquiry.
It's a point of inquiry.
Women have the right to speak in this committee. Conservative women have the right to speak here and not be interrupted by my male colleagues. Mr. Chairman, I would like to reclaim my time. I lost like 10 seconds there.
Okay, we'll give you 10 seconds.
Congresswoman Mace opened with serious allegations, claiming widespread fraud involving taxpayer-funded programs in Minnesota. Her argument was straightforward. Fraud against the American people should never be ignored, no matter who commits it. Then came the moment that exploded online. She asked a witness a simple yes or no question. Should American citizens be required to speak English? Not perfectly, not as a cultural weapon, but as a basic civic standard in a shared national system. Instead of an answer, she got resistance, claims that the question itself was inappropriate. Let's be clear as patriots. English is the common language of government, law, and civic life in the United States. Expecting citizens to function in it is not radical, it's practical. Mace then pivoted to another issue that matters deeply: fraud and consequences.
Okay, my next question is, should Somalians who committed fraud be denaturalized and deported, Mr. Balyu?
Again,
Yes
I'm not
or
sure
no?
that's an appropriate question because the majority of Somali
So if you
Minnesotans
commit
are
fraud in
citizens.
this country and you are here from Somalia, you don't believe they should be denaturalized and deported? How
Again,
much fraud would it take for you to want to denaturalize and deport someone who committed fraud in this country? How much?
Again,
A
Ms.
billion?
Mace,
9 billion? 19 billion? What would it take for you?
most Somali Minnesotans are citizens.
Right. And the ones that committed fraud, the question was, if you understand English, should be those who committed fraud, should they be denaturalized and deported? The Somalians who are here, the ones that can't speak English.
Yeah, so under U.S. law...
Okay, my next question for
Excuse me,
you
can I please finish the question?
No, you can't because you're not answering the question. My next question is, this is yes or no. If you marry your brother and you commit immigration fraud, should you be denaturalized and deported? If you commit immigration fraud, yes or no?
Again, that question seems really inappropriate. And if I can get back to your question...
Well, you can't answer my question, so that's probably more inappropriate. Can you name one significant contribution to Minnesota from a Somali immigrant who can't speak English?
Absolutely, yes. But again, this is...
You didn't name one.
She asked whether individuals who commit serious fraud, especially immigration or benefits fraud, should face denaturalization or deportation under existing U.S. law. Again, no clear answers. Here's the patriotic position. Citizenship is a privilege with responsibilities. If someone abuses the system intentionally, accountability isn't cruelty, It's justice. That principle protects legal immigrants and tax-paying Americans alike.
All right, so my next questions are going to be for the Honorable Ms. Robbins. Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today. I heard some discussion earlier about al-Shabaab and the discovery that you believe some of this money that was defrauded the U.S. government went to al-Shabaab. Is that correct? Did I hear that right?
Yes, it's been proven.
How much money are we talking about?
You know, we don't have an amount. So there's been specific cases where it's been charged where we have an amount, but then of the millions that go to Somali over the years in remittances, a portion of that we understand is taken as sort of a tax or corruption by al-Shabaab when it enters the country.
Can you explain to us who al-Shabaab is?
It's a terrorist organization in Somalia.
And they're affiliated with al-Qaeda, is that right?
My understanding is they are.
I am on the DNI website where it tells me that since 2014, al-Shabaab has killed more U.S. citizens than any other al-Qaeda affiliate. And as of 2025, al-Shabaab, this group, is al-Qaeda's wealthiest component. Can you believe that?
Yes.
The hearing also raised concerns about whether some fraud proceeds may have been sent overseas, with testimony referencing al-Shabaab, a U.S.-designated terrorist organization affiliated with al-Qaeda. No one claimed every dollar went to terrorism, but even the possibility demands investigation. This is not about ethnicity. This is about protecting American taxpayers and national security. Ignoring that is negligence.
And that American tax dollars through Minnesota, through Governor Tim Walz, who shamefully had to resign from his reelection the other day. Thank you to the young YouTuber Nick Shirley. This is the kind of thing that was happening in Minnesota. So I praise the Republicans who are here today from the Minnesota State Legislature exposing this fraud. And then, Ms. Robbins, when do you think Tim Walz became aware of the fraud?
I think he's been aware of it since the beginning. This was a huge issue in our state in the year he ran for governor, and the OLA reports came out, first identifying the child care fraud in March and April of 2019 when he was in the first months of his term.
Was Keith Ellison in on it too, knowledgeable, the Catholic turned Muslim guy in Minnesota?
Yes, they were all newly in office, and this was very public knowledge in Minnesota.
What role do you think Tim Walz and Keith Ellison played, his administration, in delaying investigations into the fraud?
So I've outlined several things where they stopped our ability to strengthen internal controls, and they also shut down the criminal investigations by the OIG and DHS.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back. I do have two articles, Mr. Chairman, that I would like to ask unanimous consent. This one on foxnews.com, Minnesota fraud probe will expand to other states. And then on house.gov, legislators blast DHS for revelations it had contracts with feeding our future fraudsters.
Without objection to
Thank you,
order,
Mr.
Chair.
Chairman.
Questions were also raised about whether Minnesota officials, including Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison, were aware of these issues earlier and failed to act. That's not a partisan accusation, it's a demand for transparency. If fraud is happening on this scale, leaders have a duty to stop it, not delay investigations or weaken oversight. Here's the truth the media won't say out loud. Wanting a shared language, lawful immigration, and accountability does not make you anti-immigrant. It makes you pro-American. Strong nations have standards. Compassion without structure leads to chaos. And taxpayers deserve to know their money isn't being abused or misused. Nancy Mace asked questions millions of Americans are asking at home, and instead of answers, she got outraged. That reaction tells you everything. If you believe in law, order, and a nation with clear standards, stay with this channel. Like the video so more Americans see it. Subscribe for grounded, patriotic commentary. And watch the next video on screen right now, because the accountability fight doesn't stop here.